Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Radio Free Wall Street. Hi, I'm glad you're here. And this is an important broadcast, and I'll tell you why. We are looking at a stock market that, they're kind of draining a swamp, and we can find out where the alligators are, or they're draining the pool, and we find out who's been swimming naked. And we found out that most of our mutual fund geniuses are involved in the FANG stocks. Those are the darlings of Wall Street, the Facebooks, the Netflix, these idiotic companies that are trading at valuations that is through the moon, cannot be justified, and will result in a wipeout. So the rally you've seen the past year or more is basically mutual fund guys driving the market higher with dog shit stocks that will never justify the present price. And this got me thinking. I've been here many times before, and I trade these wipeouts, and I'm going to show you how. And this is just the beginning. And the next few weeks will point to us a lot more problems will come to the surface. And in the next 90 days, we will see another stock market crash, wipeout beginning. And it will begin what will be a multi-year decline that will lead to the Great Depression. And I want to say this to you, and I want you to hear me. You know, we're the sum total of our experiences, and I've am having a life full of experiences. Being able to be successful at what I do is let me do things a lot of people can't do. And I really appreciate that. But along the way were events that shaped my life, okay? Now, when I decided to close the brokerage firm and stop putting up with the U.S. regulators because they questioned my track record and they were on my ass, and when they did an audit and they disagreed about like a 5-cent mistake, I said, I'm done. I don't need this shit. Sent everybody back their money, and I sailed off in my boat. And I ended up, because I was living in Texas, so I would frequently, I had the jet planes then also, and I would frequently fly down to Mexico on weekends. Fuel was very cheap back then. The planes were cheap. But then I would just have this beautiful, leave that Texas kind of soggy weather and be in the sun. And I would sail. I was there, and an American guy befriended me, and he had a beautiful Sparkman and Stevens custom-made aluminum yacht. I mean, this was a piece of artwork. And he was trying to get it commissioned, and I got roped into helping him do some electronics and the radar, and he was buying the finest things. And his wife was very, very heavyweight, diabetic as a matter of fact, and he was in good shape, but he had a heart condition. And he'd get out of breath and he'd go, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know what's going to happen. And he said to me something which shaped my life. That one conversation. He said, "Listen, don't wait until you're too old to enjoy your life." Anyway, I had decided, made arrangements to go from Cozumel to Cayman Islands, and that's when I opened up. We got involved in the Mega Fund. Okay. Anyway, make a long story short, he never left there. Okay. He had a heart attack and died, and his boat and his dream never came to fruition. So I promised myself that I wasn't going to wait for the right time for anything, and sailed the Caribbean, and I sailed the Pacific and the Mediterranean, and I had satellite communication systems and state-of-the-art, and I would go to a beautiful place, and I would stay there for 3 months, 6 months, a year or more, until I drunk of it fully. I followed the journey of my immigrant ancestors all the way back to Spain, and through Turkey, and through Rose, and then through Italy. And I was in Barcelona and the records, and I've gotten access to secrets that people didn't have. And I know riddles, and I know mysteries, and but I also know that it's the people along the way whose lives you've improved and you've made a difference in. And I've met many people along the way who have been wiped out in this scumbag Wall Streets. I was just on the phone. In fact, I was running a little bit late finishing with one of my friends. I was talking about two early events that helped shape my career. One was a woman who, very early on, I was not a big shot. I wasn't very successful. I had a very small firm on the seat, and we were trading, and I was a local on the floor. I didn't understand trend trading, and I was doing okay, but that's before Bunker came along and made me wealthy. Thank you, Bunker. May you rest in peace. I'm sorry he sold you silver at $5 when the Bank of Delaware dumped it on you. But anyway, that's another story. So anyway, a woman came to me, very elderly woman with a very thick German accent, and she said, I understand you can be trusted, and I want to show you something. She opened the suitcase full of Weimar Republic bonds, millions and millions of marks worth of them. And I had the very unpleasant job of, and she thought this was her retirement. She had held on to them for many years, and now this was her retirement. And they were worth nothing. And I had, with a tear in my eye, I have to tell her that. And I think you can imagine the reaction, and I'll never forget it. During the 80s, Merrill Lynch sold to people a high-yield, very high-yield Mexican peso bond based in pesos. And the salesman got a high commission on it. And a couple came in the office, and the peso started falling. And I believe my numbers were right. The peso went to 20 to 1. They were taking a pretty big haircut, and they asked me, what do you think we should do? I said, I think you should sell right now. And they said, we can't afford to sell because we're taking too big of a loss. I said, listen, you got to sell. They didn't. They came back, I think it was at 75 or 50, somewhere in that. Didn't sell. Well, eventually their very large investment was worth a mere thousands of dollars. Mexican peso wiped out. The peso bonds went to shit. And I couldn't get them to liquidate. They just would not do it, and they rode it all the way to the end. I understand it was a suit. Merrill Lynch paid some people some token amounts of money, but that's how it's played. And right now I'm living that horror. Just today I was talking with a guy who had a bunch of annuities, large amounts, that are paying 1%. And he said, I'm looking for something safe. So why don't you put your money in Treasury Direct? And the salesman came, a whole life policy, you know the shit. In fact, he needed some of the money out of it, and instead of allowing him to liquidate, they said it'll take too long. They loaned him his money back at a ridiculous interest rate. And so far this year, the yield is, for the first quarter, 0.20%. So you can buy a 30-year Treasury right at 3%, which is out-yielding the S&P 500 projected going forward, using their numbers, not counting the stock market wipeout. Make it safe, secure, 3%. And if you tell your broker you want to do that, they'll laugh you out of the room. And you go, well, wait a minute. The Treasury market is the biggest market on the planet. It represents the largest hoard of cash in the world. It is where kings and presidents and billionaires and companies and countries keep their money. But you need to buy some dog shit Argentina 100-year bond, Venezuelan debt high yield, which I saw Goldman Sachs do in mass. Or you can buy, I've seen them buy into Puerto Rican electric utility debt. And that's where they're pushing people. The largest pool of money left on the planet is the lifetime work of the baby boomers. And I've been talking about this, but I want to get this really clear to you. That money is about to wipe out, okay? That money is not going to be there. It is in the biggest dog shit debt you've ever imagined because it's a high yield retirement account. And today is the day that even though we had a 4+% factory jobs returning, made America label great again bullshit, reality is that it was a sugar high. Reality is that corporations used the money that came back over they've made for the past 10 years tax-free. They used it to buy back stocks. They used it to do cutesy little tricks on their balance sheet. And most of the companies I analyze are not seeing any top-line growth. And the earnings per shares have increased because they bought back the shares. And we are now on the verge, and I want to be on a record here, of another stock market wipeout that will be bigger than 2006, 7, and 8. And the market will lose far more value, and the market will not come back this time. And if you've got your IRA, 10K, and REK, they're going to charge you 40 and 50% taxes as income on it, and you better be ready because if you're part of the baby boomers and you're part of that money you worked so hard for, you're the last pool of cash they got. And as I said today in Market News and Commentary, America is facing a crisis, and the crisis is that factory automation, job automation, all the way from a doctor, even a lawyer, is coming with artificial intelligence, and millions of people will be displaced. They will not be retrained. You know, what are you going to do? You're going to put 10,000 robots to replace 10,000 workers, and you're going to create 10,000 jobs? Bullshit. You're going to put 10,000 robots and create 1,000 jobs. Okay? So what I'm telling you is that what you saw in the market today, in spite of an incredibly strong GDP report going back like, 4 years, the S&P 500 fell 18 points, okay? The Dow fell 76 points. And the NASDAQ that had put in a record high had a huge drop, okay, of 114 points, and but it was still trading above its previous high. So the bubble's still there. So I urge you to look at the signs of the times. Understand we've got a Donald Trump who is moving in, should we say, some very dangerous directions. And I'd like to point out to you that you better run. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. And you need to preserve your retirement money. You need to have money in Treasury Direct. And you need to get out of all this Wall Street shit that's going to wipe out. You need to be out of the stock market on the long side. And if you are so orientated to take a risk, it's a wonderful time to take a risk. And all I can tell you is that the current state of affairs are getting very ugly. Love Trump, hate Trump, I don't give a shit. But when his most trusted lawyer is testifying against him, and when many things he told us that was critical to the federal investigation that's going on, that was critical to his presidency, comes unglued, you'd have to take a step back and ask yourself the question. Now, I want to be absolutely clear here. We are in a recession. Now, I'm sorry if it's not official yet, but by the time it's official, what the hell good does it do you? We're in a stock market that's going to lose 80 to 90% of its value. When it does, and you go, yeah, the guy was right, what good does it do you? You're not going to get on there in the middle of the slide and kind of catch up with it. That's not going to work. So you need to read the signs of our times. You need to understand the great jeopardy we are in. You need to understand the Fed is raising rates and the recession upon us. And you need to understand that most of your retirement stuff's in dog shit that is not going to give you a return, and they're not going to give you money. You know, wait, let me put it this way. Wait till you contact your annuity company, your whole life policy. Wait till you try to cash in your retirement and get your money. You're going to be shocked at the bullshit they're going to give you. You are going to be laying there and wondering, oh my God, what the hell's going on? How do I survive this? And the reality is that most people will not. So we are about to see the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the planet. We are about to see the greatest impoverishment of the wealthiest, most productive people the planet's ever known, the baby boomers. And you are a target of very nasty people that have lost your money and you don't know it yet. And when you do find out, it's going to be too late. It's like Bernie Madoff, you know. It's like, at some point, it's time to get out. At some point, it's time to head for the hills. It's some time to say the party's over and get out before the disaster, okay? And if you don't do that, you're going to suffer the consequences. So what you saw happen with the huge loss in Facebook is going to be repeated over and over again. This is just the start. Now remember, if this is such a great economy and there's so much money, why are we already seeing these wipeouts? And the answer is because it ain't such a great economy. The answer is because the shit's about to hit the fan. The answer is you need to run for the hills. And the answer is that you need to have a bulletproof portfolio or you're going to have nothing. You need to understand that this huge stock market, well, the stock market rally, in the bull market, everybody's a genius. Then when the wipeout comes, most everyone is a loser. So you better decide how you're going to stake your claim and how you're going to survive this thing. And you better decide now. Now, there is a fortune to be made in these markets in a crash. There's a fortune to be made in the coming wipeout. There's a fortune to be made because, let me tell you, despite all the blow and go and America's great again, the steel guy making his $25,000, $50,000 a year, he's going to get a nice tax break. But you rich baby boomer, you rich bastard, with all that money you saved, shit. They're going to take half it in taxes. Mark my words. They are going to get these people that will never work again another day in their life as their factories close down. They will not be redeployed and retrained. As what? I see. You're going from the left shock absorber guy at the Chevy factory to a mathematician doing algorithms and programming in Python. Shit. I'll kiss your ass if that happens. You're going home, and you're going to be given virtual reality, and you're going to be given medical marijuana and a kick in the ass, and what's going to happen is we're going to become a socialized system. Donald Trump was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, okay? He became a Republican because that's what he needed to get elected. I mean, don't get me wrong, a very smart guy. He understood the mood of the American people, but that's not going to do you any good. So absolutely, positively, we are headed for Wipeout City. We are headed for a $2,000 socialist check from the government for all these displaced people. And we're headed for 50% taxes on you rich bastards. And we're headed for a world that's going to be not kindler, not gentler. I'm telling you that right now. America is not going to rise up as as a powerhouse. You're being sold a load of shit, okay? By a man who is a certified liar. And if you want to jump in there and say pledge allegiance and God bless Donald Trump, that's fine. And when you've got nothing, he has everything. Remember these words, okay? He's caught in a lie a day. He's caught in a sellout a moment. Look around you and be smart. And this is going to get worse, not better. Now, if you understand that, you can turn that into a hell of a lot of money. And you can turn that into great opportunities. And if you don't understand it, you'll have nothing. So choose. What you're seeing going on right now with the fangs is just the tip of the iceberg. The fangs are going to come unglued. They are going to wipe out. They're going to take the stock market with it. The Federal Reserve is raising rates and we're going into a recession. And Donald Trump, whether he survives or not, and it should be a very interesting horse race to see, will drive America into a depression. And these trade wars, they didn't fix shit up with Kim Yum Nunchucks. They didn't solve shit with our good friends of the European. What they did was they gave Donald Trump a press moment. Why? Well, because all of a sudden he got in trouble because his mouthpiece is selling his ass out. Now, I would think you'd be smart enough to see that and understand it. And understand that this is a time of maximum danger. It is time to head for the hills. Deep state, no state, restate. Are you really going to risk everything on Donald Trump's bullshit in his presidency? Does that make any sense to you? You're going to ignore the Fed raising rates? They've done it over and over again? Wiped out the economy over and over again? Really, really, really? Is that really how you think that your life's going to work out in this thing? You've got a chance to start over again? You've got a chance to build your wealth? It's one... Look, let's talk really straight. Most of you built for yourself a very nice life. But you did it in the most prosperous country that ever was, in a time that country was the freest, where they didn't have so many scumbags like Obama or Trump, in a time of minuscule regulation compared to other places, in a time of vast wealth, vast money creation, and vast death creation. So the answer is that if you didn't create vast wealth then you never will. You're headed for a much different country run by thugs and insiders and oligarchs, and that is the model. And I think you need to understand that. So as you're walking around here, you're looking at a wipeout coming that's growing by the day. And you're looking at spending by government that's going to run out of control. So, by the way, this GDP report has more bullshit than I've ever seen a report. They've doubled the savings rate. They've done inventory adjustments. I'm going to tell you something. You need to understand this. I've never seen a report full of more bullshit in my life. I've never seen a report so doctored, and you need to understand that, and it's total bogus and total bullshit. So, you have been warned. You are being taken for a ride. So all the good shit in this report that Donald Trump's ballyhooing for you, do not be fooled. These are one-time events. These are contrived numbers and situations that will not happen again. And you will find that this will end in tears. I hope you're hearing me. I hope you're hearing my plans. This is a doctored report. This is full of funny money numbers. Numbers that will never occur again. But okay, you don't want to hear my words. You will pay the price bitterly. This is the most contrived report I've ever seen. It's based on huge one-number events tied to the tax break bonanza for billionaires, federal spending, and a lot of other tricks. And this will end very badly, and you have been warned. You know, little I can do. But you can't look around and you understand the sign of the times, what's happening, well, then you become a victim. And now is such a time. The stock market is a bubble. You saw what happened. Look and understand this, okay? Do not let yourself be fooled. Anyway, I wish you good luck and great success. And this is going to be a crisis like you've never seen, my friends. And this is going to be a crash like few people have ever lived through. And this is all coming on the basis of a huge stock market rally based on dead broke social media stocks that don't have profits, they don't have a sustainable business model, and they're a bubble. Now, at some point, you need to scratch your ass and figure it out. At some point, you got to, rise above this thing and understand that you got a president who's a liar. You got a president who's a showman. You've got a president who's a media manipulator. You got a president that may be owned by some very unsavory characters. And you need to ask yourself how this is going to work out. And you better get it right. So I never saw a more bogus GDP report in all my life. Savings rate doubled, right? Okay, you've been warned. I can't do, guys, I only can do so much. You're with me a long time. I don't go through these blow-and-go sessions often. I'm deeply troubled by what I see. Something very big is about to happen, very ugly. I can't put my finger on it, but I know it. And you listen to me. These earning reports that are coming out are dog shit. There's no top-line growth. I've been living with this, what I call financial engineering. It's been going on for, basically up to the last stock market wipeout, the 2006 thing. But what they've done since then is like nothing I've ever seen before. There's not more transparency there's left. You got car companies that are not reporting their automobile sales. You have the biggest retailers like Walmart are not reporting on what their sales volume is. Now, how the hell does that happen? How the hell do investors put up with that shit, okay? You got General Motors that said its big emphasis is going to be on socialized cars, with interval ownership. I mean, we're moving to a socialist model, and that is not good for investors. That is not good for the economy. You know what that's reflecting? Talk to anybody who's a baby boomer leaving a job, okay? A lot of them are probably pretty senior what they do. And let me tell you something. Listen to me. It is the people who are replacing them are ending half to a quarter what they were paid. Okay? So the big cats are getting bigger. It is a destruction of middle-class America. It's the impoverishment of a country. America is not going to be great again, especially with Donald Trump's dream of factories for everyone. Oh, my God. How does anybody believe that shit? Okay. You have been warned. You have been, you've been walking down the road here. You need to open up your eyes and see what's going on. You need to understand at some point this ends up very badly. Please hear my words. Anyway, it's my pleasure. I'm a little bit disgusted, so I'm going to sail off today. I never saw a bigger joke market than what we had. I've never seen such more balance sheet engineering. What they're doing is unconscionable. And many people are going to lose everything with this shit. I beg you, get your money under your control, in your mattress, in Treasury Direct. Get in safe, secure. Now, if you want to take a walk on a wild side, make sure it's your wild side. Make sure it's your profits. Because what you do now, in the next, you got 6 months, 8 months, decides what the rest of your life's going to look like. You have been warned.